Smash that.
Welcome one and all to another amazing night here in Tranquility.
We absolutely are in for a treat of a match here tonight, no question about it.
And the grenades from Pomku eliminate everybody on the field.
Now I'm just something as well is going to be applied as a death blossom, and it's going to be huge, fighting three.
The double kill with the Bastion ulti? Alright, I see you guys.
For B-Well, look to find a stick there, finds the stick, they find two with it!
Those who find the picks will save the fights, and they don't really need to save what they've already won.
And Cam with the four-man punch off the map!
Experience tranquility.
After 15 weeks of intense play, here we are once again. We have arrived at the end of the 10th season of Tranquility Gaming, and what better way to end it off than how we started it, by writing yet another chapter in an intense rivalry that's brewed over the past 2 seasons. Tonight we see if a number 1 team all season walks away with their first title, or if their greatest adversary adds a 3rd trophy to their name. Good evening, everybody. My name is Bowsy, and I'm joined here by Karma on the cast, as we bring, and it is our honor to bring the Season 10 Discord Tier Finals between Mi7 and Reminiscence.
I'm excited. These two teams have been going back and forth. When we last saw them in week 5, Mi7 won 3-1. Could Reminiscence take it over and makes up for what their rest of their org has been able to do with losing in each one of the finals so far?
Yeah, definitely. It has been a tough road for the Nostalgia org, losing 4-1 to Galactic Penguins and 4-2 to Amnesia. Reminiscence is their, 4-2 to Guangzhou Gangsters so far in the finals week. Reminiscence is their last hope, but this is a team that definitely can do it. They already have 2 championships to their name, back in Season 7 and back in Season 9, when in the latter, they beat Mi7 to take the title in a 4-3 matchup. But now things are different. Mi7 has not lost a game against Reminiscence since that matchup in the Season 9 Grand Finals, and it's going to be one heck of a fight that they're going to have to fight through in order to try and take that trophy away from the number 1 team.
Yeah, it's going to be rough, but especially when I was talking with Laura earlier this week, and even last week too, he said this is Tom Brady's Deflategate season. He wants to win everything. He finally got that MVP. Now, all he needs is a championship to go on that trophy, and I'm pretty sure he can call it a career by then.
You probably can call it a career in Tranquility by then if you're able to take home the MVP, the best hit scan, and the championship in the same season. Lore definitely getting pretty close to doing that, but both of these teams have had very wild roads to get here. They've gone to map 5s, map 7s against many different opponents, but at the end of the day, they've all made it here one way or another, and tonight we see which one is taking home the trophy for the Season 10 Discord tier.
Yeah, not to even mention a map 8 for Reminiscence last week versus Paradise Lost. All that fatigue that's coming into it. Maybe it's affecting them. Probably not, because we're playing on video games. We're not playing actual sports, so there's not going to be injuries and everything like that. But hey, it could be a mental fatigue. It could be, hey, we went to map 8 versus Paradise Lost. Now what are we going to do against the number 1 seed who only dropped 1 map this entire season against last week's opponent? But it's going to be a rough stretch from now on, especially with the grand finals coming up.
Well, you say that, but MI7 have had a very difficult road as well. They went to map 5 against Avalon. They beat Paradise Lost 3-0 to be able to find their number 1 seed, but then they went to map 7 against the Wildcat Boys, who were a very formidable opponent all season. They picked the Wildcat Boys as well to get as their first opponent, and so they had a very close match with them. They almost lost that series if it weren't for an amazing hold on Junkertown in that first point. But at the end of the day, MI7 still found their way here, beating Cosmic Castaways last week to find their way here. But definitely that 4-3 win that Reminiscence pulled over Paradise Lost, it was the closest match of the season. They also won against Beat Drop Bears, another formidable opponent, Cosmic Castaways, another formidable opponent, and Trigonometric, another formidable opponent. Of all those 3 series, they dropped a single map. So Reminiscence are in a very strong state. You ignore that Paradise Lost game, and they are looking in championship caliber. And we'll have to see what these 2 teams are going to go up against, as the first map has been picked by MI7 to be Antarctic Peninsula.
Yeah, and Antarctic Peninsula, these guys do have some history on it. The last time these 2 plays in week 5, Antarctic Peninsula was map 1 as well, and it went to a 0.3 with MI7 taking away the victory. It's going to be interesting to see how these 2 teams play, and especially with sort of a revamped Reminiscence team that we didn't even talk about. A lot of the people are new on Reminiscence from last season, and it's going to be exciting to see these 2 teams play off, especially with Swifter was the original member of MI7, sort of having a grudge match, sort of like bragging rights ready for both of these teams.
Yeah, definitely. Of the 2 rosters that we see here, only 2 players were present in the finals match last season. Those were Lore, who's still playing for MI7, and Music Addicts, who played for MI7 last season as well. No returning players from Reminiscence. Everybody else from MI7 is not present this season. So a lot of different rosters overall. It's going to be interesting to see if the storyline stays the same. And I mean, we've already seen it so far. The preseason finals between these 2 teams was also a map 7 that MI7 took out with just a sliver, with a special map that they brought us to in map number 7 to bring us to the edge there. But it's going to be interesting to see what these 2 teams have in store for us, as we're hopefully heading into Antarctic Peninsula very soon to start the series.
Yeah, it's going to be very interesting to see how they do it. Of course, when talking with it, they were saying Genji Main is their main target for Reminiscence, to try to punish him as much as they can to take the victory. And if they're able to do that well, I feel like we could be in one hell of a match.
Yeah, definitely. Genji Main has been a linchpin for MI7 this season, joining as one of the new players. Isn't a rookie, however, has played 2 other seasons with Storybook Heroes and with SEAL Team Spuds back in Season 8 and Season 9, respectively. But still, a really good linchpin pick. And now with the cons being shown right now, we've seen some interesting stuff from both of these rosters here, Karma.
Yeah, but MI7 is going back to their tried and true. Lore on the Bastion, Tanic B on the Mei. Something that we talked about last week that looked different, but hey, it's been working for them all season. Whereas Reminiscence, they're going with the Ramatra on B-Ball Man and just trying to take out as much damage as they can through the shield of Genji Main.
Absolutely, as the 2 teams walk through the spawn door, they come out on the same composition. Swifter switching off of the Symmetra over to a Hanzo to provide more arrow pressure, but nonetheless, the 2 teams meeting up on this high ground. Or looking for the perfect opportunity to use that configuration artillery, but right now is just looking for the perfect opportunity to just throw some grenades down and try to get some damage. Reminiscence set up on the point. MI7 taking this high ground away from them.
Yeah, they're taking it, but they do drop instead. Lore trying to find something with it, but is able to try to melt B-Ball Man. But now it's just a struggle fight onto the thing as B-Ball Man gets walled off and almost dies. Luckily, the lamp was there from the side of Neptune to keep him alive.
Yeah, definitely good lamp coming out there from Neptune to keep up the Ramatra here, but now Swifters has the high ground and finds the head of Hayden to start off the fight. Music Addicts also finds the kill on the Tanic V, and now with Swifters on this high ground, it's just a very difficult task for MI7 to take the point win, and Reminiscence are going to clean up and take that first point cap.
Yeah, that was great from Swifters, being able to stay on the high ground, take out Hayden first, their main sort of mobility of MI7, whereas Reminiscence, even if Coconut goes down, they still have B-Ball Man's Nemesis form, where they can just run at you no matter what. So being able to take out the main source of mobility for MI7 is going to be huge for Reminiscence.
MI7 now coming through that short alleyway, heading toward the high ground once more, trying to gain the advantage as they're running right across the side of the high ground, going right over to the other side of Reminiscence, where Swifters is meeting them in the face. A lot of damage coming out, and the grenade coming out from Lore finds the kill onto Coconut, and the amplification maker from Bunny finds the kill on the music guys, but Swifters bounces back with 2 thanks to the storm arrows. Will get taken out in the aftermath, but MI7 are still in the advantage, now with Neptune out of the fight as well.
Yeah, Neptune's out, and all that's left is B-Ball Man. Being able to get Panic B, it could be massive. Pops a Nemesis form to try to Annihilation, try to keep the point going. Is able to do it and just sort of backs off. It still has the point for almost at 50% already, where Reminiscence is starting to come back to life and try to take on, and they're dropping the beat as well. And Mi7, all they have to do now is just try to back up and stay alive.
Reminiscence still trying to keep themselves in this, kill that point as much as possible, investing everything into this. They didn't invest the first ult here for MI7, apart from that airstrike coming down from Lore. The Shatter lands onto B-Ball Man, eliminates that thanks to the help of Lore. Now Genjimane pushing right into the face of MI7 as the cap gonna be eventually coming in once Coconut is speared off the point. There's still one more person on it. It's Swifters, not able to find any more heads. MI7 look to be capping this point in only a matter of 2 feet.
Yeah, as soon as Music Addict falls, finally get it. But like you said, there's so many ultimates used on the side of Reminiscence. Their closest now is just Music having a 50% for the Mei ult, whereas for MI7 they have Panic B's freeze, which could be a great turning point, especially being able to try to hold this, so that way you don't have just one fight and then it's lost.
Yeah, definitely. We'll see what the move is here from both of these teams. Reminiscence once again taking the high ground. Swifters peeking through the window, looking for the perfect shot onto Lore. Already a lot of damage done into them as the Mei wall from Panic B doesn't find anything thus far, and only boosted up B-Ball Man over the wall. MI7 still want to try to engage into this. They have this Blizzard from Panic B, and they're going to try to set it up. But Bunny used the Amplification Matrix and falls immediately. Blizzard does come out, but nobody's caught inside of it except Coconut, who's out on the corner. Genjimane goes for the charge, doesn't find anything with it, but Music Addict is now out of the fight. That's one of your only 2 ults you have here for Reminiscence. MI7 still in a good position, but here comes that Dragon Strike from Swifters to separate the team, and Genjimane will be the casualty. So will Haydenator. The point goes back to Rem.
Yeah, and luckily for MI7, they do have one more fight to try to get everybody back up alive. Hayden being your last one is great, especially since they do have the mobility to be able to get back fast. But on Reminiscence, they have Music's freeze, they have B-Ball Man's Annihilation, so it's just going to be a matter of time to see if they're able to take it.
The Blizzard comes out immediately here from Music Addicts. Doesn't catch anybody except Panic. He was able to use the cryo freeze to keep themselves alive. Now they're trying to pepper down, find any sort of icicles in the field, but Laura already finds the kill onto Swifters. That's most of your damage down here for the side of Reminiscence. Now Coconut out of the fight as well. Laura's Bastion is finally starting to show up when it matters. Genjimane finds the kill onto B-Ball Man, flips the point back in favor as the charge goes on to Music Addicts.
Yeah, and this is great for the side of MI7, having 2 ultimates as we go to a pause immediately. But yeah, being able to finally get that point with just about 50%, but Reminiscence, they're at 99%. You can't get off the point immediately, and when they have been needing to fight on the point, it's been Swifters being the main sort of target. He's been sitting on the high ground, just being able to pepper people from up top. Somebody gets low, B-Ball Man goes into the Nemesis form and just takes over. It seems like.
Yeah, definitely. You have to be careful right now if you are MI7. You definitely need to know how to really regulate that sort of stuff. Make sure that you're not letting Reminiscence take advantage of that, because Ramatra is a very good hero in terms of the brawl-centric play style. He wants to go in, he wants to pummel you with these hands and make sure that you're not able to get anything done in terms of the gameplay. And the Annihilation just adds a cherry on top. It's a great spacing tool. It's probably one of the best spacing tools in the game, because the only thing that you can do is hide behind a shield and try to rotate to make sure the rest of your team can stay alive. And not to mention, it lasts a maximum of 20 seconds if you are within the range of the Annihilation. So it definitely is one heck of a hero for that space. And Reminiscence have been able to take advantage of that, but MI7 are being able to break through it when it matters the most. As we head back out of the pause, MI7 were the ones who called the pause, but regardless of which, Reminiscence now, they have the 99%, but MI7 have control of that point right now.
Yeah, Reminiscence too. They do have 3 ultimates. It's a 3-3 fight for ultimates, but again, I feel like MI7 has the almost, I don't want to say better ultimates, but has the more advantage of their ultimate usage.
Let's see. Reminiscence are going to be the first to touch the point with B-Ball Man down there. Genjimane's going to drop down alongside Panic B, but Bunny's going to stay on the high ground. Here comes the artillery shells coming out from Lore, just covering the high ground, and finds Coconut, the beat now out of the picture. The Annihilation comes out, but so does the Shatter from Genjimane, just stopping the Ramatra in its track. And the window coming out from Neptune is a little too late to keep B-Ball Man alive, but now Bunny's out of the picture. As I say that, MI7 are still finding him more necessary picks.
Yeah, if you're MI7, that's what you needed to do. You needed to have B-Ball Man pop his pop his Annihilation, and then shatter him, and that's exactly what they did. Now it's Neptune trying to keep everybody alive, but Mi7 take them out. Freeze comes out from Tanic B to try to keep everybody frozen. B-Ball Man gets frozen off the side. I think the only person left is Coconut trying to keep alive. Genji Man finds 3 and point 1 is to Mi7.
Mi7 doing a really good job coming back from that, finding the way that they were able to win that, and beautiful ult execution, as you mentioned, using the shatter on the ulting Ramatra, just made it so the Ramatra could not get any sort of value. Yes, you're still gonna pepper damage down one by one, but you can't move, you can't aggress in, you can't give these hands to the enemy team because you're on the ground, sitting down there because you were stunned by a giant hammer. You can't do anything about that, and Mi7 were able to recognize that and put themselves in position. But now we head over to Antarctic Labs here, which has a different sort of style here, but we see both teams right now still opting for this brawl composition.
Yeah, I wouldn't be surprised if we see all 3 points keep this sort of brawl style from both Mi7 and Reminiscence. 2 teams that love their brawl, love to play it, and love to just say, I'm better than you, come get these hands.
We'll see how the 2 teams do these sort of rollouts. You see the teleporter once again coming out from Swifters, once again switching back to the Hanzo just to provide that extra damage. But Mi7 going to be taking the high ground advantage here. Same thing with Reminiscence, so they're both going to meet in the high ground of Antarctic Lab. And Loris is going to try to pepper in the damage thanks to that wall from Tanikby, but Tanikby ends up falling to Coconut, who goes super aggressive and finds the melee kill. Not something you see unless you're a Reddit Lucio on Ilios well, but regardless of which, Reminiscence are already taking advantage because of that pick.
Yeah, Reminiscence, when I talked to them, they said, hey, one person you need to look out is Coco Nut, because they're going to go Coco Nuts in the backline. I don't take any advantage of that. That was Swifters who said that themselves. But hey, it's Reminiscence point, and now they're now they need to try to bring it back.
Yeah, definitely, but already an early Ice Block use here from Music Addicts, trying to keep themselves alive in the face of that Bastion from Lore. But now Genji Man is starting to swing that hammer back and forth. B-Ball Man is stuck in a perpetual block and will fall to the hands of the Fire Strike, and Genji Man is found 2. Make that 3 with the hammer, cleaning up the point from Reminiscence, and Mi7 get the cap of their own.
Yeah, Reminiscence, even though D-Ball Man is on the Ramatra, it feels fairly good against the Bastion of Lore. Having that damage, even though it is reduced from when you do block, it's still damage that you're soaking up. And if you aren't able to stay alive from the side of Neptune, if they're not able to keep them alive, it's going to be rough, especially with Lore having already 70, almost 80% to their Bastion ulti.
Interesting to see Reminiscence taking the wide angle here, and Implication Matrix already comes out for Bunny and puts the Bastion through that, and it's a world full of her, but Reminiscence just back up, put themselves in a better position to try and engage onto this next fight. They're going to go through the main. B-Ball Man is already there alongside Neptune, but Genji Man has this shatter online, the shield now out of the picture here from B-Ball Man, so Genji Man has to try and set this up perfectly. Ball comes out from Tanikby to try and set up the opportunity. Bunny's just trying to heal the team as the shatter lands right onto Neptune, but Genji Man is frozen out of the shard, unable to get any sort of value with it, as now Genji Man, Bunny, and Lore all fall. Reminiscence are taking that point right back.
Yeah, and of course, even though they did use the Blizzard and the wall, the Amplification Matrix, that's the one thing that you love to use. You love to use the Amplification Matrix because of how fast you can get it back. And now Reminiscence have 3 ultimates online, whereas Mi7, they only have Lore's Bastion ulti plus about 80% to both Tanic B's and Hayden's ultimate.
It'll be interesting to see what the move is going to be here from Reminiscence and from Mi7. Lore already getting picked down a lot, but is able to survive as here comes the Dragon Strike coming out from Swifters. The lines go right on top of the support. Lore finds 2 crucial picks. Will fall for his efforts, but that still looks like a very likely chance that Mi7 will find this point in the aftermath.
Yeah, that's great for Lore. You wanted to find 2 and you got the 2, but Bowsy Man is saying it's still my point. I still want to take it, popping the Annihilation, making it so that way Mi7 have to pop all of their ultimates to be able to hold this fight. But it looks like Mi7 is still trying to stay alive. The only one that's left, but Coconut is back to try to stay alive. Music finds one, and I think Reminiscence is actually turning this now.
Yeah, Reminiscence, beautiful turn there. The beat from Coconut was very well done. Mi7, however, they are going to re-engage here. Music guys is stuck in a bad corner right now, right in front of the team of Mi7. Will get picked off for their efforts, and Neptune will fall as well here. Genji Man just trying to stabilize the rest of the team as Mi7 will flip the point, but 82% for Reminiscence, that's much higher than it should have been.
Yeah, that's much, much higher than it should have been. B-Ball Man is giving it to effort right now, popping the Annihilation to try to keep everybody alive, making it so Mi7 had to use 2 more ultimates that I feel like they wanted to. The only thing now they have is Bunny's Amplification Matrix, whereas Reminiscence, they're close to Music's Blizzard, and that's about it for them to come back. So it's going to be just a dry fight, it looks like.
See Reminiscence taking the very wide angle. They're going straight to the point there. B-Ballman coming out of the tunnel with the rest of his team. Already getting peppered down with a lot of damage, courtesy of Tanny and Laura. As Games step on the point to stop the capture. But there is the amplification matrix, and the Fire Strike connects right onto Coconut. Roasted Frog is on the menu, as is the Shatter coming out from Genji Man, landing on the B-Ballman. Music Addict is not long for this world, and the Blizzard is invested too, Karma.
Yeah, the Blizzard is the best for Reminiscence. Now they have nothing, but they do have 3%. Swifters is there. He's able to touch the point and be able to get it for overtime. Coconut's there trying to stay alive so that way they can get another chance. B-Ballman is up next with the ball, but it's looking like it's going to be rough from Reminiscence, and it's going to be Mi7's map 2, map 1.
Ball coming out there for Tanny, trying to hold up everybody as Music Addict to step back on the point with that trade. Is close to the Dragon Strike right now, with S10 is the next one to touch on the Moira, trying to go aggressive and trying to find more damage, but ends up getting picked off by Laura's Bastion. Now all of a sudden, Music Addict, the Dragon Strike comes out for Swifters. It is able to be unlaced before he comes to fade. As here comes the mines coming out from Laura, just flashing the point with them. They'll get the kill on the Coconut as B-Ballman jumps right back in, trying to get the kill on the Bunny, but the beautiful wall placer from Tanny keeps the Baptiste alive, and with B-Ballman falling, first map, he goes to Mi7.
And that was great target focus too at the very end. Sometimes with fights like that, you get very flustered on who to go after. Mi7, they looked drilled. They looked ready for this, and it's map 1 for Mi7. Now it's Reminiscence map pick to try to even it out.
Reminiscence now gets to choose their hybrid map in this series between Kings Row and Nabani. Usually they have a second map with Parajo, but unfortunately Parajo is currently out of rotation due to a massive game-breaking bug that was discovered with the recent patch. Good job, Blizzard. But regardless of which, nonetheless, it'll be interesting to see what Reminiscence decide to go for here for their escort map in this series between Kings Row and Nimbani. I mean, we've seen a lot of brawl style from Reminiscence, but at the same time, they are not winning on this brawl style, Karma. So is it worth it to go to Kings Row to run that brawl style against Mi7?
I think if you're Reminiscence and you go Kings Row, I think it's you saying, I think we can beat you on this, even though we lost map 1. We feel like we can beat you on this. I feel like if you go Numbani, it's going to be a little bit of like a, hey, we can play this dive. I feel like Mi7 is a lot stronger on the brawl. I think we saw that last week when they ran brawl. They looked drilled. They looked really, really good. And I feel like if they go Numbani, I feel like they might have a slight edge, but it's going to be rough for Reminiscence now, especially with Paricio out of the map pool for the foreseeable future with that bug.
Yeah, definitely. It is unfortunate that Parajo is out of the map pool, but regardless of which, the map choice is Reminiscences, and they have chosen to bring us to Numbani here for the next map, which this is a much more dive-oriented style. This is very much expected if you are playing against Mi7, who have been touted as the kings of brawl in this tier. I mean, they're running Bastion, they're pulling strats straight out of the Boston Uprising out here, just running the Bastion May and being able to really put a good effort on it. As also swaps are coming in for both of these teams. Hayden is being subbed out for Majestic, and B-Ballman is being subbed out for Train in this next map here, Karma. So this could be very interesting to see what these two teams are willing to play in here with these swaps.
Yeah, it's going to be very interesting. I wouldn't be surprised if Reminiscence does decide to go for a much more of a dive-centric style. Numbani is very dive-centric, especially with the fishbowl point that I've sort of been coining with both Numbani and Paricio. Having that point right there and you just sort of hold the high ground, it's very difficult to hold. And I feel like Mi7, if they do try to run this brawl, I feel like they could be sort of at a disadvantage, especially with how they've been playing.
Yeah, definitely. We could very well see brawl competitions work on this map. We saw it yesterday with the Guangzhou Gangsters. They ran a brawl competition on Nimbani where they teleported to the back line and then wrapped themselves all the way around to separate the supports and find them in a disadvantaged position. But regardless of which, we could very well see Mi7 start to struggle a little bit. But we do know, however, that even though we saw them a lot on the brawl team, they are not a team that is brawl one tricks, Karma. They can play other sort of heroes, and I hope that we'll be able to see that in this matchup.
Yeah, I really hope so too. I know a few weeks ago I called the Doomfist comp coming out, and if we see that again, and I'm calling it again, I'm going to laugh and do another lap around my room because of it. But I wouldn't be surprised if we see like a standard standard Winston dive / ball dive against both these teams, because both these teams, again, they're 1 and 2 for a reason. They're well drilled. They know each other. They know how to play this game very, very well. And obviously they're here, aren't they?
Yeah, they're here for a reason. They have been undefeated for the entirety of the playoffs for a reason. I mean, Reminiscence, their undefeated streak goes all the way to the back of stage 2, where they have not lost a single series since then. Mi7, their streak goes a little bit farther. It goes to the last week of stage 2, where since then they have not lost a single series. But right now we see the comps coming out here. Reminiscence on the attack, but Mi7 on the defense right now. We see Genjimane pulling out the Diva here, Karma.
Yeah, Diva's actually been, I feel like Diva's been getting a lot more hype, especially with how good she has been, being able to peel for your supports, peel for your DPS. And I feel like also with Reminiscence pulling in Train, I feel like they might have predicted the Winston swap. And with Diva's micro missiles, just being able to delete the Winston, it's going to be great for Mi7 to be able to try to hold this.
Yeah, definitely. We'll see what the move is going to be here from Mi7. Obviously, they're setting up on the high ground. Bunny's going to be setting up in that back right corner with Majestic protecting them. Definitely will be interesting to see what Reminiscence's plan is here with that Echo composition. Coconut switching over to the Mercy to pocket the Echo as Reminiscence comes out of the spawn doors with the Monkey Echo Tracer. It's going to be all about setup here, Karma.
It's going to be all about setup, and if you can bait out Majestic's whip shot, that's going to be basically your one thing that as soon as you see that happen, you got to press go on the dive button right away.
Switcher moving all the way to the back line, ready to capture on the damage from Bunny, but Bunny is starting to move around. Majestic is waiting in the hallway for that Tracer to come in. Here comes the dive coming out from Train, and now Bunny is starting to get pressure from all different sides, but finds a crucial sleep onto the Winston, but Lore ends up losing their life for that sort of move here. The guy is able to find the kill on there as the first pick looks like it's going to be in favor here for Reminiscence. Train goes back in for the dive, finds Bunny once again. Infinite keeps them alive, but the picture now in favor here for Mi7. Coconut needs the guys out of the picture. Now with Bunny down in the first two take, and Reminiscence seem like they're going to be in a good state.
Yeah, I was about to say, having Lore dive first is a pretty good, especially since you had a great dive. You were able to get a lot of resources out, but then Mi7 turned it. Bunny was able to get one very crucial pick there, even though they did lose their life. He was able to stay alive, and then Reminiscence was like, hey, guess what? We got to get out. We lost a few people. Now they have another dive target up, but Bunny is already 75% to a nano.
Building up those nanos very well right now. We'll see what the move is going to be here from the side of Reminiscence. Music Addicts already finds the first pick on the 10-B once more. Music Addicts finding the first pick both times in this fight. Now a second tick given over here to the side of Reminiscence. Mi7 trying to step back on the point. Genjimane stepping up to the pass, but he gets anti and ends up falling out of the mech as well, courtesy of Swifters. And Neptune just sitting in this room uncontested will help bring Reminiscence to that first point count.
Yeah, Music Addict having that sticky grenade and being able to sort of clean up what everybody's doing is great. And now Reminiscence, they have 3 ultimates basically online with Swifter's Musics as well as Neptune's Nano, whereas Mi7, they're up to 3 as well, but a little bit farther for one of them.
We'll see what the move is going to be here from Mi7. We see Laura making the switch over to the Ash to provide a lot more damage, but we'll be able to have that one-shot potential as much unless there's a Mercy swap coming out here from the Mi7 copy.
Yeah, it's going to be it's going to be very difficult, but Laura on that Ash, they weren't playing hit scan and was deemed one of the best hit scan not for a reason, especially with how strong Ash has been recently, especially against this dive too. Having that snake shot, being able to boop the Winston away from Train, it's gonna be a lot difficult for a dive.
Beautiful anti-day coming in from Neptune, right onto Bunny, and she succumbs to fate. But Laura knocks Coconut out of the balcony as well. Both supports down from either side. Music Addict, however, with the duplicate, finds themselves right in the face of Majestic and will burn that Brigitte to the ground with the sticky bomb. Reminiscence, they did lose their Mercy in that fight, but they are still going to come out on top of the after.
Yeah, I like how I said, hey, it's going to be tough dive, and then they just proved me wrong. Reminiscence is playing good, but Train does fall. Sticky misses completely, but still gets Tanic B off the wall. What are you doing, man? He said Kobe, but he wanted a bank shot instead.
Yeah, definitely. You might as well relate that to a bashing grenade at that point, just bouncing it off the wall and hitting Tanic right in the face, regardless of which. Second point goes here to Reminiscence, and now with 4 minutes and 40 seconds in the time bank. It's going to take a lot of fights here for Mi7 to try to hold this, and they're already making swaps with Genjimane jumping over to the Junker Queen.
Yeah, Genjimane swapping over to the Junker Queen, one of the best tanks in the game, as we see Train immediately, hey, you can do it, I can do it as well. But the one thing that the Reminiscence does have, they have Swifters on the Mei now instead of the Tracer, so that way they can wall off Genjimane if they go a little bit too aggressive. But Mi7 do have a few ultimate stuff that can be able to get this fight going for them.
Rally comes out, as does the blade from Tanning. Slices Neptune to bits, looking for more, trying to get the slice onto Coconut, but ends up just moving them back farther and farther. Now with the rest, now with your Ana out of the picture, and now your Echo as well. Where Mi7 are going to be able to take this hold for the first time in the
Yeah, they're finally able to hold it. Lore does have the Bob as well, so that could be very good for the side of Mi7 being able to get a nice little stall on it without you actually having to be on it. But Reminiscence, they have the dupe and they also have the nano, which I feel like, especially if you do dupe Tanic B's Genji, hey, nano blade already.
From the side of Reminiscence, they start pushing through the main. More Lord just staying on the corner, looking for a good pick to start off the fight, putting Mi7 in an advantage at the start, but right now hasn't been able to find anything. Bob comes out, launches the May to the sky, and a beautiful quick shot eliminates that May immediately, burns up all the ice that May had stored. He comes out here, but looking at it, so right onto the Shark Queen, already has 44% to all, he's at 67, actually has a rampage, and is unleashing it, finds the kill on a Majestic, but he dies as well, and Music Addict Duplicate finds the perfect solution that Reminiscence need to turn that fight around.
Yeah, I might have said Genji for Tanic B, but hey, the Junker Queen works just as well, getting the rampage almost immediately the second they get it. And now Genji main does have their rampage, but are they able to contest this before it goes before they cap?
No, they are not. Tanic B booped away. Genji may not able to get there in time. Reminiscence are able to cap with 2 minutes and 41 seconds on the time bank. A very formidable time bank and a really good start here for Reminiscence on their map pick.
Yeah, it's great for Reminiscence, especially since that first dive, I said it looked good, and hey, it did look good, but they did stumble a little bit, but even then, they still looked great throughout the entire thing. Now, Mi7, they need to respond. They need to do something that they can do great, and that's be strong, apparently. They can just try to take the attack and try to flip it on its head, try to cap with more time.
Yeah, that's what Mi7 has to do here, and it's going to be very difficult because if they don't cap with, if they cap with 0 time left in the time bank, this map is already considered at best a draw, so they cannot win this map if they don't cap with 0. If they don't cap the time in the time bank. Right now we see Reminiscence coming out once again with this Winston. Swifters now switching from the Echo over, or no, they had the Echo for Music Addicts. Swifters is playing the Ash, Music Addicts on the Tracer here. So pretty much what we saw from Mi7 running out here, apart from the Ash instead of the Soja.
Yeah, but on the side of Mi7, they're basically running the same stuff that we saw Reminiscence run on attack, minus Genji main is on the Diva still, and Lorder is on the Genji instead of the Tracer, so pretty much the same thing. Also, Bunny is on the Kiriko, which, again, Kiriko is still very strong, especially on this dive, so it's going to be interesting to see how they play this comp as well as we saw how Reminiscence did.
Yeah, pretty much we're seeing pretty much the same comps for both of these, except Lore is running, except Mi7 are opting for a Genji instead of a Tracer, and you see Genji main on the Stiko, and Bunny occasionally plays a different support. Regardless of which, it's the same comps from both of these teams throughout the entire series. Mi7 now taking their way into the staircase, leading themselves a face full of monkeys and train. Dynamite not needed from Swifters, but Kennedy already takes out a big opponent, finding the kill on the Coconut, and finds the kill onto Swifters as well, giving already 2 picks in favor here for the side of Mi7, and that first point should be there in a jiffy.
Yeah, if you're Coconut, you cannot be dying first. You are the main person to keep Neptune alive. And if you die first, hey, guess what? The rest of your team is going to more than likely fall with it. And hey, Mi7 gets the cap after their first dive rather than the second.
Yeah, beautiful push there from Mi7 to be able to get that quickly and affordably. Reminiscence, however, making some swaps here, Karma. You have Swifters now in the Soldier, Music Addicts on the Echo, and Train is now opting into a Diva of his own.
I think, yeah, I really like the Diva for Train here, especially trying to be able to eat Tanic B's sticky grenades, and I feel like Swifters as well, so that way you aren't able to get dove as much as you can with the Ash, to sort of run away from it. It's a lot more mobility for the side of Reminiscence.
That mobility paying off in the aftermath. These guys are already halfway to their own duplicate here as Tanic is approaching there, trying to pepper out the rest of the Reminiscence on the high ground, but is getting a lot of damage peppered into himself in the aftermath. Still, Mi7 pushing this cart comfortably. 5 minutes in the time bank right now. They're doing pretty good so far. Tanic has his duplicate up for that next fight. It'll be interesting to see who they decide to make it in order to try and turn this fight into the favor for Mi7, trying to find themselves a second point cap with the effectively. Now it's just a pepper game. Kryy going to be diving in, trying to find the kill onto the opposing D.Va. Here comes the duplicate coming out from Kenny. He already starts out with an anti-grenade in their face. Goes building up that ult. Get bombed up out from Kenny. He's able to find anything. Kenny dives onto the Brigitte, but Music finds the kill on the Majestic. And now Mi7 are starting to crumble a little bit with Lore out of the picture, Bunny out of the picture. All those options is duplicated D.Va and the D.Va itself.
Yeah, that's not good if you're if you're Mi7. When you use the Kitsune Rush to try to be able to hold on to it, it's a very good ultimate to try to engage and be able to escape the space. But Reminiscence said, yeah, no, we're not good to deal with that. We're just gonna kill you all, and that's what they did. And now Mi7, they have two ultimates basically online with Majestic's Valkyrie and Laura's Genji Blade, whereas Reminiscence have.
See what the move is here from Reminiscence in this next fight. It's going to be interesting to see what Lore does with this blade. The blade is taking a little bit longer than they probably would anticipate to build it up. They're still pumping in the damage when necessary. See what the move is here from Reminiscence. He starts finishing the dive and already loses his neck very early. Goes a little bit too aggressive into the enemy team. Now that's going to cost Mi7 even more time on the time bank. They've already lost it in 30 seconds since I mentioned that 5
Yeah, they've lost a lot of time now, especially with Genji Main going off. And now Reminiscence, they have 4 ultimates now. Coconut is finally got their rally as well. So it's going to be a lot more health for Lore to go through if they decide to use the Valkyrie here.
See what the move is here. Mi7 look like they want to rotate into that far road. But Swifter knows that the enemy team is trying to hide behind them. You can hear the footsteps of that Genji. Speaking of the Genji, here it comes. Slices the tech vising soldier to fit. Does get fast out by the Brigitte and will get dashed into by Train. Music Addict also puts over to the Junior here with that duplicate, trying to build up a bomb of their own. Will be able to, but ends up getting shut down immediately. That bomb is not going to find anything as Mi7 back up. Right now, Mi7 in a pretty good space right now. You've already burned out 3 ults from Reminiscence with only cost of 1.
Yeah, now here comes the duplicate looking well. It's Panic B trying to go super aggro, trying to keep him alive, but loses the mech almost immediately. His purple might be losing the duplicate soon, but is able to get another mech. Whereas Swifter spies Majestic. The Nano comes out onto Coconut to keep them alive, and Reminiscence is holding this with their lives right now.
Yeah, Reminiscence just pumping down everything they can into this fight, and it's going to work in the aftermath. They hold it through that entire minute-long fight. Now with only the bomb in hand, we'll see if they're able to keep doing that. As now 2 minutes remain for Mi7 to try and get to point B.
Yeah, 2 minutes remain. Mi7 does have some switches too. Lore switches over to the Soldier. Majestic is now on the Lucy after going straight to the break. And Tanic B is on the Genji now as well, whereas Reminiscence are still the same thing. Only have the bomb on both sides, but Bunny is close to their Kitsune Rush. Oh, no.
But the Kitsune Rush won't probably need as much when your Lucio is already out of the fight. You're down your speed boost, you're down your engagement tool, your disengagement tools, you're pretty much everything tool. And Genji Main's gonna lose their mech as well. Has to force out the self-destruct to get the mech back. It won't be able to do that. Switchers picks them off as well. Reminiscence doing a very good hold right now, and Mi7 are looking dire for it.
Yeah, they're looking dire. Mi7, they thought they could do it, but Genji Main switches to the Winston to try to hold on. Coconut falls. They do have 2 picks right now, but Swifters is still alive, taking names on Tanic B. It has the visor, so if they engage, guess what? Here comes the aimbot.
Swifters has to run away from the Winston of Genji Main. Here comes that tactical visor, as you mentioned, really trying to burn down the enemy team, but hasn't found anybody in sight. Everybody's hiding behind cover. Genji Main is getting picked off, but not without finding the kill in the net too. But now with the look out of the picture, it's going to be harder. Rally comes in from Coconut as well, and Mi7 have to retreat now with Lore out of the picture.
Yeah, they have to retreat. Reminiscence, they did pop the rally there, but hey, that was worth it. You were able to stay alive. And hey, guess what? You look at Reminiscence, they have the bomb, they have the dupe, and they have the nano close with about 30%. Mi7, they're barely to anything. Closest is Laura actually has the overclock, but other than that, they're at 25% off of both Tanic B and Majestic health.
Gonna rely on this overclock from Lore. Lore's done amazing things on the Soldiers in the past, trying to burn down rail into the enemy team. Looking comes out from the guys onto the Winston as Lore goes up to the high ground to try and contest it, looking for more kills, but hasn't been able to find anything. And Music Addict will jump right on top of them. Trey finds the kill on the Bunny as well, as now Mi7 in dire straits, already down 2. Trey just plunges himself into the enemy team as the blade comes out for Kenny B, but the Soldier of Swifters gets nanoed, and the rest of Mi7 will fall by the hands of Reminiscence. Map 2 ties up the series.
Yeah, ties up the series with a great hold from Reminiscence. Like we said, heading into this, we could see cracks in Mi7's armor, and guess what? We saw a crack right there.
Beautiful crack that Reminiscence was able to tear open here on Numbani. So we'll have to see what MI7 responds to today. We get to pick the next map in our series, which is going to be an export map. So we'll have to see what they decide to run here. Beautiful. That rampage for Music Addict definitely was the turner there for Reminiscence. Again, that was the fight where they lost already their May. That giant rampage was able to turn it around. And that just shows Junker Queen really should be receiving some nerfs, Blizzard. Thank goodness you're nerfing her next week.
Yeah, thank God. And also too, being able to get that rampage so fast with the echo duplication matrix, just being able to basically get one swing of the axe, one shot of the shotgun, and you have it. It's insane how fast you're able to get ultimates on echo. But yeah, like we've been saying, Reminiscence, they're showing life. They're holding strong. MI7. Now you got to take this and you're gonna be like, okay, now it's our map pick. Where are we going? We did good with our brawl. Really do all that good with the dive. Where can we go now?
Yeah, your map choices right now for MI7 are Shambali Monastery, Watchpoint Gibraltar, and Junkertown. All three of those are, like, 2 or 3 of those are not really good brawl maps. However, Junkertown is the map that they won against the Wildcat Boys, so it's going to be interesting to see what they decide to choose. And the map choice has been given here. Shambali Monastery is the pick here for MI7, and this was the map that they beat Reminiscence on to take the preseason title, so they definitely have some tricks up their sleeve when it comes to this map.
Yeah, and especially too, like you were saying, there's only one that's really for brawl, and hey, this is the one that's really strong for brawl. Shambali Monastery. I feel like also it's also very strong for the Ramatra that Reminiscence played in map 1. This is going to play to the strengths of both teams. Both teams looked very good on the brawl. It's going to be tough for MI7 to try to be able to hold this.
Definitely will be tough for MI7 to try and hold this, but we'll see if they're able to pull up a sleeve in their elbow that they may be holding here. Definitely is going to be interesting to see what they decide to do, but definitely we've seen the sort of styles here, but Reminiscence is definitely excelling on the dive competition, and MI7 being a lot better on that brawl, so we'll see what these teams have in store here for Shambali Monastery, and which team's going to be able to try and take the advantage into halftime. So will be one heck of a show to be witnessing here. We'll see which team has the advantage in the after.
Yeah, not to even mention too, with their brawl, Reminiscence looked great on it as well. They just had a little bit of a different sort of style with the Ramatra instead of the Reinhardt, which MI7 had Lore on the Bastion 4, which of course, I feel like if you're playing Bastion, it's very strong. It's still very, very strong. It's not used a lot because of how slow the mobility is, especially when you go into the artillery configuration, I believe it's called, the turret mode. So you don't really have that big space, but hey, if you're able to melt down tanks, might as well use it.
Yeah, I mean, if you're going to be able to melt down the tanks and be able to put a lot of pressure onto them, because Ramatra obviously is a hero that wants to go forward, but Bastion is a hero that can melt anything in front of his face. So it's very difficult to push into a Bastion if you are playing Ramatra. Just tell Washington Justice that. So definitely could be an interesting situation. We'll see if Laura decides to pop out that Bastion again and what MI7 have on up their sleeve here, but definitely will be one heck of a map to watch here. No swaps said for either side here, so we'll see if these compositions are going to be able to make the most of it. But definitely we've seen so far a really good match so far, and definitely it could go all the way after what we just saw here, Karma, which makes me scared.
Yeah, it really could. Honestly, both these teams are playing. They're throwing their punches evenly. I don't think that we've seen one team get punched in the face so hard that they haven't been able to come back up. I think on Numbani, I think we started to see that. I think MI7 was a little bit down right there, but they weren't down for the count, luckily, yet. We got to wait till the match is over to say that. But hey, if Reminiscence is able to take that and say, hey, we saw them on point 2 of Numbani, one of the hardest points, in my opinion, to hold on defense. I think if you're Reminiscence, you're taking that, you're going to be like, okay, now it's our time. We're going to show them what we can do. We can stand it up for our org, who has lost to every single grand final so far. And hey, we're going to be the shining star of our org.
Yeah, definitely. Reminiscence is definitely trying to make a statement that the Nostalgia Org is not a runner-up team. There's always been a trend where the Nostalgia Org only wins in odd number seasons. Reminiscence wants to end that trend here today, and it's worth noting that if they win this, it would not only be their 3rd championship, setting history as the only Tranquility team to win 3 championships, but that'd be 3 championships in a row for the team, because they didn't enter in Season 8, they won Season 7, they won Season 9, and if they win today, they'll win Season 10, which will make it 3 championships in a row for Reminiscence, which would be one heck of an accomplishment, but they still have to get through MI7, and it's still anybody's game. We're only 2 maps in, anything could still happen.
Yeah, not to mention, too, going to the championships, when I was talking with Swifter, he was saying Poggers, this would be his 4th time winning a championship all in a row too. If they win today, which that's an insane coaching run, even for a coach. Just being able to, this is something that you can show to people if you want to go higher up into different leagues. Be like, hey, look, I was able to turn this teams around 4 times. I won a championship 4 times. I was able to do it, and I've helped a lot, especially with my coaching style.
Yeah, definitely. That is a monumental achievement right there. Poggers being a really good influence for all the teams that they've coached, being able to win 4 championships in a row. That is one heck of a statistic. I don't think I know any coaches that have won 4 times in a row. There probably is one out there, but regardless of which, still be one heck of an achievement. We're heading into the map here soon. We're just waiting for these 2 teams to get ready, and eventually we'll be heading into Shambali Monastery, which has a very interesting sort of style in terms of the sort of points that you have there on Shambali Monastery.
Yeah, it's very uphill battle-y. You sort of have first point is very flat for that first corner, and then the second corner it's very vertical. You sort of have that it's very rough to hold, and then that second point is basically useless. I don't think I've seen a lot of teams really fight there until you get to where the checkpoint is. And then point 3, it's just a hellscape for if you're on the attacking side. You can really go only one way, and it's difficult if you're on attack, but on defense, if you're able to stall them for a long time, you could basically count it as a win at some points.
Yeah, I like to refer to the second point of Shambali Monastery as a combination between Circuit Royale and Horizon Lunar Colony. Or yeah. Circuit Royale second point and Horizon Lunar Colony, which sounds like a disaster. It's because it is. It's a very low ceiling. It's a very low ceiling point, and you have to go uphill through a series of zigzags. It is a messy point, and it can take a while for teams to get used to the sort of second point on Shambali Monastery. But they have been able to make some pretty good holds in that, but it's just a matter of trying to get into it. So definitely going to be interesting to see where the 2 teams roll out here as we finally head into Shambali Monastery. Mi7 on the attack, Reminiscence on the defense, as we're going to be waiting to see what these 2 teams are trying to pull out here, and which team's going to be able to take the lead in this series going into our halftime break.
Yeah, it's going to be interesting to see, especially with, even though we did say, hey, they've run the brawl before, I feel like you could also play a little bit of the Sigma double sniper here. But as we head in, yep, we see the brawl coming out from both sides. Reminiscence leaving the defense. This is more than likely what they're going to be running. Swifters on the Sojourn, music on the May. Train is still in actually with the Ramatra, Neptune with the Baptiste and Coconut on the Lucio. And on the side of Mi7, we saw it on Antarctica. Lore on the Bastion, Tanic B on the May, Genji Main on the Rhine, Bunny on the Baptiste, and Majestic still in on the Lucio.
So we're definitely going to see that brawl style show itself once again, as Reminiscence is going to hold right by the spawn doors. If you're Reminiscence, you want to try to hold close with this comp. I just mentioned Ramatra wants to be in your face. We'll see if they're able to do that once they realize that there is another Omnic on the enemy side. And this one has a bunch of bullets and will shred you down in seconds. Wall comes out from Tanic B, does not find anything on the other side, but Reminiscence right now is just poking from that side. Mi7 trying to rotate into that small loop on the right. Tanic B is trying to put as much damage as possible into Train. As the Immortality Field comes out, beautiful wall coming out from Tanic B, puts Train in a corner, and they will fall to the hands of Lord's grenade. And now with Lord are finding 2, will end up falling to Neptune, but it still looks like it's going to be a fight win for Mi7.
Yeah, it still looks like it should be a fight win. Neptune is just the last one alive. Never mind his music, but they finally fall. That was a very weird pin, I gotta say that. It looked like it went through the wall, but whatever. Yeah, Reminiscence, they did really good there, getting able to get over about 45 seconds off the clock for fight 1. The only thing that sort of stinks is that Mi7, they're closer to the ultimates. They have Tanic B at 50, Genji Man at 50, and Bunny at 50, whereas the closest for Reminiscence is Music and Swifters, both at about 45.
The move is going to be here from Reminiscence. They're going to be holding right by the second incline. It's one of the first big inclines of Shambali Monastery, which is just holding up on this platform, trying to pepper in damage for the perfect opportunity to find a headshot kill and start the fight off right here. Mi7, they're just backing up with all the damage coming into their face here, just waiting for the perfect opportunity to push in. Right now, it's just Mi7 backing up, and now Tanic B out of the picture. You are pretty much forced to back up as much as possible if you're Mi7.
Yeah, you really are. We see them try to take this Igern where a lot of teams try to hold, but now they just need to wait for Tanic B, but they do have a great ultimate to try to be able to try to start this fight with Bunny's amplification matrix, as well as you're about 10% off of Genji main shatter. But on the side of Reminiscence, they have something that can stall this a lot with Music Addicts Blizzard.
Blizzard for Music Addicts. I've done some great things before. We'll see if they're able to pull it off again as Mi7 make their way back towards the card. the Genji Main just comes out here from Bunny, and here comes that Blizzard from Music Addict, freezing up the Baptiste and the Reinhardt, I believe. Bunny wound up falling to a railgun shot from Swifters, but the damage is still coming out here from Mi7. The Genji Main misses a shatter, it sounds like. Isn't able to get anything with that. Now Swifters with the overclock finds the kill onto Genji Main. Just starting to clean it up here. Lore will die to their own grenade. And Reminiscence doing a really good hold here with 69 meters for Mi7 so far.
Yeah, and Swifters too, they did use the overclock as well as the FPGA matrix on the side of Reminiscence. So now they only really have Coconut's beat as well as Train's Annihilation. But on the side of Mi7, Genji Main says, you know what, enough. I'm going to go for the hands as well. It's our time to fight.
Alright, it's time for the best ball match you've ever seen, but Lore's already out of the picture. Swifter finds a railgun shot right to his head. And already you see Mi7 just immediately backing up. They don't want to lose a fight that early.
Yeah, that's the one thing too. When you switch off of a Ryan to the Ramachi, you don't have a free shield to be able to pass. So you got to be able to be strong and be tight as a group and make sure that the tank gets all the damage. And unfortunately, Lore was just lagging behind just a smidge.
Now Mi7 making the rotation once again. The lead's going for that right hunt. It looks like his train just trying to find them in the correct location.
Not so fast.
Mi7 in the hunt. He's going to go up the stairs. Here comes the grenades coming out from Lore. Going straight to the back line. Isn't able to find anything, but the Blizzard is there from Kenny. Just freezing up the Ramatra of Train. The beat, the lamp, and aren't able to save him. Genji made able to find out Neptune as well, but Reminiscence are currently sitting on the cart, making sure it doesn't move and he's going to distance as Mi7 forced to fight with them. But right now, Mi7 in the advantage in this fight.
Yeah, they're in the advantage here too. I don't think they're going to be able to turn it like it's been luckily before, but luckily Lore finds the two. But now you've got 15 seconds left about, and now Reminiscence, they do have the Annihilation, and they're close to Music's Mayfreeze, whereas the side of Mi7, the closest thing you have is Bunny's Amplification Matrix. So it's going to be a last fight here before they're able to cap point one.
Up to Genji Main to try and stay alive through this fight. He's 75% to that Annihilation form of his own, and Train drops down to stop the cart from entering into point A. 3.5 meters, Zig takes the sort of distance. The Swifters take the off angle, trying to stop the members of Mi7 from pushing forward. Amplification Matrix comes out from Bunny, and here comes both Annihilation onto the field, but Lore already finds the kill onto Swifters. The Blizzard comes out from Music Addicts, but it's in a corner that can help that Mi7 don't really need to touch. Genji Main falls, and here comes the Amplification Matrix from Neptune to try and keep Reminiscence in this fight as Mi7 trying to find more kills, but now Lore is out of the picture as well. All the sub-tier supports and Canopy, and it doesn't look like he's going to be able to have enough pressure to push this cart any further, and Mi7 are stopped right in front of point A. That is not ideal for a brawl team like that.
No, it is not, and especially like we said heading into this, did they get punched in the face a little bit too hard? It's looking like they might have. It looking like Mi7 with that little bit of a crack that they had on Numbani. It looks like Reminiscence is taking full advantage of it, and the momentum is fully in their way.
So definitely we'll see if Reminiscence are able to carry this momentum further. As 100 meters and 100.63 meters is the requirement here to go into the lead in halftime. Reminiscence having a very good record so far in the series, but we'll have to see what Mi7 decide to come out here on the defense. It was not a flashy Ramatra we saw from Genji Main, but it still was doing a lot of work, so it'll be interesting to see if Genji Main goes back to the Ramatra or is willing to commit to that Reinhardt here. We see him committing to the Reinhardt as of right now here, Karma.
Yeah, committing to the Reinhardt. I personally really like the Reinhardt in this Ramatra Ryan composition, like facing each other, because like you said before, the only thing that can really block against the Ramatra's Annihilation is a shield. And guess what Genji Main has is a big blue rectangle right in front of your team. So if you're able to sort of finagle around and be able to keep that shield alive and as well as be able to hold it, I think it could go Mi7's way. But right now, like you said, momentum is all in Reminiscence's corner, and I don't think they're going to be slowing down anytime soon.
Yeah, definitely. We'll have to see what the move is going to be here from the side of Reminiscence as they're about to come out here on the attack. As we see the two teams huddled in the spawn rooms, Reminiscence coming out here for the attack. And Mi7 are not holding close here. They're going to be holding on the platform at the end of the street. We'll see what the move is going to be here from both of these teams as Reminiscence make their engage here. Swifter's back on the Hanzo as well here, Karma, so they definitely want to have that extra damage in play.
Yeah, they want to have that extra damage as well as if they're able to get Mi7 off of the side ground, to be able to get these little off angles picks that he's trying to go for right now.
Just looking for that off angle, goes straight toward that back area as Mi7 currently brawling right in front of the cart's turn. Genji Main dropping down to the cart to try and stop its momentum as Train is currently trying to look for an opening to push forward. Lore's just trying to pump damage with that railgun. Ends up hitting one shot, but it's not a fatal shot, and now Reminiscence are taking the high ground for themselves. MI7 trying to bring themselves back up there, but B's wall tries to keep them away from danger's edge. Switcher's going to be able to push the card here, but right now it's just a game of who wants that high ground first.
Yeah, who wants it? Right now, Reminiscence has advantage of it, but B is falling low for the side of MI7, trying to keep him alive. And now it looks like it's just going to be a stall fight, especially on the point now with Train swapping over to the Nemesis form, trying to beat down Genji Man as he's trying to keep his slammer up and trying to get the Shatter off on time.
Yeah, Genji Man trying to stay alive, very close to that Shatter at 92% right now. The F2 is on the high ground as well, just trying to pumper in the heals here for Reminiscence and find themselves into a good position. Switzer's dropped extremely low, but so far, there hasn't been a fatality yet, but that's going to change as B gets punched by Train. The Amplification Matrix comes out here from Bunny to try and supply that extra damage, but Genji Man is now without a shield, has to rely on that Fire Strike to try and do damage. It has a Shatter if all things go wrong, and it looks like it's doing exactly that. The Dragon Strike and the Blizzard melting MI7 to the ground, and Reminiscence in a perfect position now to take that point and be able to go into the lead.
Yeah, and it looks like, too, they're trying to get it before MI7 can even try to touch. Closest one is probably going to be B trying to be able to get that Blizzard and try to get that stall with the Cryo. But are they able to touch? The wall comes out, but they aren't able to. Oh, no. Reminiscence takes map 3 to go up 2-1 on the series.
Couldn't touch. A beautiful wall coming out there from Music Addicts to stop anybody coming through. One of the most crucial windows in that fight, the window that leads right to the point. And definitely was unfortunate. There was that Dragon Strike from Switzer just going straight to the back line while the rest of MI7 were trying to go away from that Blizzard. And it just was a perfect situation there for Reminiscence. Taking now the lead in this brawl matchup, showing that they are not willing to play around and they are going to be in the advantage in this brawl composition moving forward. MI7, they have 10 minutes at a halftime to try and figure out what went wrong in that situation and turn this thing around, Karma.
Yeah, 10 minutes, and especially, too, you just got to build that momentum back, and I feel like that's the one key thing with brawls, is just having the momentum, and right now, Reminiscence has all the momentum in the world, taking 2 maps off of MI7, somebody who beat you down earlier in the season. This is going to be a banger.
It's going to be one heck of a match. We still have a lot more maps to go. When we come back from halftime, we'll see if Reminiscence are on their way to a 3rd title, or if MI7 can take the victory for their own and continue their streak leading in this series. We'll see you after the halftime break.
Hey everybody, what's going on? It's the desk here, back with another, I guess the last, unfortunately, for this season, Tranquility halftime show. I'm back with, of course, my lovely co-hosts, Stiko and Bernie. The gang is back together. The final cast.
One more time.
The last ride. I mean, maybe we'll be back next season. Who knows? It's definitely been a pleasure hosting with y'all, I'd say, throughout the entire season. Especially
it's been a pleasure hosting with you, Stiko.
Okay.
Yeah, same here, Bernie.
You guys are hating on me for no reason. But yeah, so far we've had a great match in our hands. Reminiscence MI7 has looked pretty close. I mean, the last map obviously had its ups and downs, I will say. But overall, I think there's been two decently evenly matched teams playing against each other. And I want your guys' opinion on who you guys think has been popping off so far in terms of this match. Bernie, you would go.
I think definitely for me, the big change was probably the swap from like B-Ball Man to Train. And it's not that B-Ball Man was playing bad, but I think that Train's hero pool just fits Rem's playstyle so much better than what was happening when B-Ball was in. Like the Diva we saw in Numbani was just like so good at shutting down everything that MI7 wanted to do. So that's definitely my favorite player so far.
Stiko, who do you think has been your top tier, S tier player that's been going on so far?
I mean, B is just always the option. That guy doesn't ever mess up a wall. I feel like he's always in the right spot to make the job as easy as possible for his tank and as hard as possible for the enemy tank, and that's exactly what you want your mate player to do.
Mhm.
Think to be a well-known member of the Wallaby Warlords. Only some people get that reference.
Oh no.
Okay, buddy, calm down.
Hey, I coach that team, okay? But yeah, me personally, I don't know. I've liked a lot of what Monty's been cooking on the Echo or Music Addicts. I think that the Echo cookage, especially on that what's the name of that map again? Numbani? That
Numbani, yeah.
Echo
Yeah,
cookage on Numbani was crazy. And I hate Numbani. That map sucks. Won't lie. That might be the worst map of all time.
You're just a diva
Yeah.
hater. You're just a diva hater. Go Porter.
I hate
Hey,
Numbani,
man.
and I'm a diva enjoyer. That map sucks.
That's
That
epic.
map's
That's
terrible.
epic.
But yeah, I think that Mounty's been cooking a lot on the Echo. I think it's been really
Yeah,
good. So this kind of brings me to my next segment. What do you guys think? Who do you guys think has been the most underrated player so far? I did this the first time, and I'm gonna ask again. We're gonna make it into a debate, I think. So Stiko, this time, if you want to start us off, who do you think has been most underrated so far?
I would probably say Neptune. I think Neptune's just like always in the right spot, very fundamental BAP gameplay. I think this is the difference for Rem, especially on that last map. We saw multiple super clutch windows come out that just like won like secured fight wins. Kept Train alive. I think Neptune has been really, really good.
Bernie?
Yeah, I think Neptune's was a good pick, but really though the one that stands out to me is Swifters. Like that soldier on Rem, he's always in like I was like, is he really allowed to play there? Like surely he just dies, and he didn't, and he was just there, and he would like be on a crazy aggressive angle and just killing everybody. Swifters like soldier, not a pick we see super often, but I think Namani's a really good place to showcase it. And then also the one play on Shambali on defense where he was on like crazy angle, like got so much value in those fights. I feel like he's just always where he needs to be to get the most value, and that's really important on like Sojourn and Soldier. So, that's
Yeah.
underrated.
Swifters obviously been very good this entire series so far. I don't know. I know it's a debate. I can pick whoever I want. I'm gonna go with one of the lesser of the two evils here. Between Stiko and Bernie, and I'm gonna have to agree with Stiko here, unfortunately. I do think Neptune has been really good this series. I think he's been highly undervalued. My former teammate on Carnage, let's go Kip. That's my goat right there.
Yeah, my goat.
Okay, Bernie. I forgot you were on the team.
Oh yeah, well, you know, I was coaching.
You were there. You were there. Certainly there doing something. All
I
right.
was definitely in the VC for sure.
You're definitely there.
I'm gonna twist
The
it.
known bench warmer.
Yeah, he played the one playoffs game we lost. We'll say that.
Yeah, it's okay.
Uh,
Scrim 4K. Scrim 4K.
Yeah. But yeah, I think Neptune has honestly been really good so far. A lot of really good things I saw from the bot and Ana. And unfortunately, Bernie has been overridden here. So L bub.
It's okay. I'm down. I'm always down to rep my goat Neptune. Don't get it twisted. I think Swifters pop off. My former teammate Swifters, but yeah, I think Neptune like that window on Shambali, that was like, mwah, beautiful.
Goat.
So I'm happy to concede that one.
Yeah, and right now, what do you guys think have been the most favorable comps for each side? Bernie, if you want to start us off.
Yeah, I think like what we saw in map 1 is I was like, oh well, Rem are just gonna get outbrawled, and Mi7 are gonna outbrawl, and then Reminiscence, they're just gonna like play diva maps and it's gonna go 1-for-1-for-1. But then we saw that Shambali was like a totally different thing because I think Rem still played in their playstyle of kind of playing a slower comp with the Sojourn versus the Bastion. And I don't think the Bastion was getting as much value on that map, and I think that Rem did a really good job shutting that down. I would probably like to not see as much Bastion played with the Mi7 comp, and maybe just try to play something a little bit more stable like the Sojourn or like Hanzo, as Laura's been known to play in the past.
Yeah, I'm gonna save the worst for last, so I'm going next. I think that Rem with the diva comp has been looking really well. Train, obviously a really good player. I think Music Addicts on the Echo has been looking insane. So if there's that pocket soldier pick, and you have Neptune who's able to comfortably play the Ana, as well as Coco who's been showing some really good brig gameplay, I think that diva comp has been working really well so far, and that's probably what allowed them to get such a big time bank on Numbani. God, I hate that map still. Stiko, the worst for last.
Okay, bum. Okay, first of all, I think that the Bastion comp that we've seen Mi7 is try to roll out on. First map was really, really strong. Rem have started to adapt towards it, and it kind of forced Genji main into mirroring like a Rem Atra. And I think that's been like massive for Rem. I think it's looked really, really good so far. So there are only like really two comps played for both sides, but I think whoever wins a map is very reliant on if it's like a Ram Ryan map or a Diva.
Yeah.
I think definitely like Shambali in my mind was like a must-win for Rem. I thought they were advantaged, and
Yes.
then, or sorry, a must-win for MI7. Like, and I was like, oh, if Rem wins this, they're just like ahead now because I thought it was gonna go, 1-for-1. Everyone was gonna win their map pick, so like MI7 were advantaged at the beginning because they had first map pick, but now like Rem are up 2-1, right? And they won MI7's map pick, and now we're going into escort. Sorry, we're going into push, which I think is like very MI7 favored. But I still think Rem has like a good chance if they keep playing like Sojourner Mantra kind of stuff.
Yeah. And I think with that out of the way, we're going to go back into the grand finals here for Discord tier Reminiscence 2, MI7-1. That'll be it for the deaths tonight and for the rest of the season.
Forever.
Actually.
Oh, not forever.
Wow.
But...
Maybe we'll do an after. Who knows?
Oh, we're so back.
We'll
we're
see.
so back.
We're so back. We are so back.
One more time.
One more time. The run back. But thank you everybody so much for watching. Yes, it is a Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles blanket. Bless up.
Let's go.
Michelangelo is the best one by far, we'll say. But yeah, thank you everyone for watching, and let's go back to the casters here.
Check this out.
So far, the journey for MI7 is looking a little more complicated than they thought. After only losing one match all series, they're currently down after the half to Reminiscence, their #1 foe. And now it's going to be a matter of MI7 trying to bounce themselves back. Bowsy here with Karma, as the next map has been chosen, our singular push map in the series, Karma. MI7 had chosen to bring us to Colosseo.
Yep, another brawl map like we were saying during halftime, but hey, they've been showing good. The only thing they had was last map in Chambali. They looked like they were getting ready. They looked like they finally, or Reminiscence finally had a chink in the armor of MI7, and they looked good on it. They looked like they had all the momentum. Now MI7 has to try to take it back, and now they chose Colosseo, one of the best, I feel like, push maps out of the three, in my opinion, because you can only play brawl on it more than likely.
Yeah, you can only play... you can play other compositions on this map. I believe MI7 are one to run ball on this map, but we will see if they decide to run that brawl composition or if they're willing to run a different sort of comp style here. But definitely will be interesting to say the least, as we do also have swaps coming in. B-Ball Man is coming back in for Train, and Hayden is coming back in for Majestic, so we're seeing the same rosters we saw in map #1 here in map #4, Karma.
Yep, same people, same result, maybe? Who knows?
Hopefully. We'll see.
Hopefully.
It'll be interesting. It'll be interesting to see if that's the case as we head into the beautiful streets of Rome. As you can see, Roman Colosseum is somewhere behind all of this, but regardless of which, a beautiful city nonetheless. Be interesting to see which team is able to take the advantage here. There's that Roman Colosseum as the two teams waiting in the spawn rooms, ready to come out with the compositions that we'll be seeing here, Karma. And it's all up to MI7 right now. They lose this. Reminiscence goes to match point, and MI7 has to win 3 maps in a row, which Reminiscence can say they've done before, but MI7 has not in this sort of situation, in that last disparate situation. But the comp's out. Reinhardt for MI7, Junker Queen for Reminiscence.
Yeah, Junker Queen for Reminiscence. I wouldn't be surprised if we see Coconut switching over to the Lucio off of the Lifeweaver, trolling. I don't think, have we seen any Lifeweaver at all throughout this tournament?
I feel like there had to be at least one match, but I could very well be wrong. But regardless of which, the two teams coming out of the spawn doors, ready to begin the match here on Colosseo. Kenji Main is going to be the first one to touch the bot, but unfortunately the bot unlocks in 18 seconds. But Reminiscence now coming in with this sort of Junker Queen style, looking to try to push themselves up. Hayden is the first one to find out that they're running the style. The two teams meet in the center, but Music Addicts already finds the kill on to Hayden. A good start so far here for the side of Reminiscence. Now that one support is already out of the picture for MI7.
Yeah, your main mobility down in Music.
Oh
just
my
going
God!
Off, getting 3. Gets 3, gets the cleanup. Goodbye, MI7. It's my bot versus Reminiscence.
Reminiscence will get the bot control first, and they start moving forward here. Mi7 not making any swaps thus far. They're keeping with this composition, but as I say that, Laura now switching over to the Sojourn, opting into the rails instead of that machine gun barrel as the two teams, as Mi7 start coming back out, trying to contest this Junker Queen of B-Ball Man, who ends up getting walled off, forces out the Suzu here from Neptune, and B-Ball Man will end up falling to the hands of Genji Main here, who has that hammer just to swing in front of the Junker Queen. Now the bot's going to go briefly in control here for Mi7 as they try to clean up the picks. Laura trying to finish off Neptune here on that Kiriko. The Music Addicts, no support to help him apart from that Lucio, and ends up getting picked up by Genji Main, and Mi7 now are fully in control of this fight.
Yeah, they're finally fully in control, as I believe Neptune and Swifters are able to get out just about. And now it's Mi7 trying to get it. They just need to get it around this first corner, and then they will already have more advantage.
Definitely, we'll see what Mi7 are able to do here as they start pushing forward that bot. The Genji of Music Addicts just deflecting a fire strike coming out there from Genji Main. Ironic, but Reminiscence looking for the backline. Here comes that blade coming out from Music Guys. Has to try and find something, but the Blizzard comes out from Tandy to separate the members of the team. Hayden makes a very risky move, goes right on top of the Genji. It ends up surviving. Tandy so far is the only casualty for Mi7, but it's 4 picks in favor for Mi7, and they're going to be able to push that bot even further. They might take the lead away from Reminiscence.
Yeah, being able to pop your freeze to try to deal with the Genji Blade from Music Addict, as well as Bunny popping the Kitsune Rush, so that way Genji Man can just swing and get all those kills and build up their shatter is amazing. And now Mi7 has 3 ultimates basically online, and the same with Reminiscence.
Yeah, definitely Mi7 right now. They're backing up a little bit as Reminiscence start coming back into this fight here. They have that Junker Queen ult in addition to the support ult, so we'll see what they decide to do here with this fight. Here comes the shatter from Genji Main, lands right onto that on that Junker Queen. The beat and the Suzu are forced out at the same time as Hayden invests their beat into this fight as well. Here comes the Kitsune Rush coming out from Neptune, just pushing the members of Reminiscence forward. They're still looking for an opportunity, still looking for the first pick in this fight. These guys able to find the kill on Laura in the backline now as Coconut finishes off Genji Main, and B-Ball Man trying to look for more wounding, able to help get the kill onto Bunny, and Reminiscence are back in control.
Yeah, Reminiscence back in control, only really needing to pop 1 ultimate there with 2 ultimates, sorry, with both the supports, but now B-Ball Man has the rampage, whereas on the side of Mi7, all they really have to counter it is Bunny's Suzu.
See what the move is here. Swifters currently peppering down Genji Main, trying to get that Ryan out of the area. But here comes the rampage. Genji Main gets burnt to the ground thanks to that anti-healing. Bunny will also die to B-Ball Man, but Tanikby picks up 2, finds the kill into Swifters, and Neptune now with B-Ball Man out of the fight. It looks like Mi7 might be in control of this. Music Addicts and Coconut are the only 2 remaining players right now, and Music Addicts is currently having a rough time without his Lucio in tow, or without their Lucio in tow.
Yeah, they are having a very rough time. Coconut was just able to get out there and try to keep it alive. And now it's back at Mi7. We're seeing the classic push style where it's just back and forth. You gotta win multiple fights to be able to try to get it. But on the side of Reminiscence, they're very close to that Dragon Blade. And the last time we saw it, Mi7 had to pop 2 ultimates to be able to keep on winning the fight.
See if Mi7 decide to pop those ults again, as the bot's going to go in favor here for Reminiscence just for a slight moment as Mi7 recuperate themselves and prepare for this next fight. Swifters on the high ground, looking for the perfect opportunity to head in the backline and start peppering down the supports of Mi7. Right now, it's just a stall game. The bot is stuck between the arches of the Roman Colosseum. Nobody really wants to push it farther than that. Tanipy tries to go for a wall to block off the Junker Queen, but is unable to do so. Has to force out the Ice Block as well. Here comes that Kitsune Rush coming out from Bunny, as now Reminiscence has to try and back up a little bit here, but they still are looking for the advantage. Here comes that Blizzard coming out from Tanipy. Lands right onto the Junker Queen, who gets Suzu, but gets frozen once again. Swifters will fall as well. Here comes that Blade from Music Addict. Has to try and find something. Nope, we'll find a face full of freeze, as Mi7, the lead is once again theirs.
Yeah, face full of freeze as well. Coconut used the beat drop on Lucio and died with it. So now they don't really have a defensive up for it as Music switches to the Echo now instead of the Genji. And Mi7, again, they have the Shatter and they have their own beat up to try to be able to hold this fight after it gets the point tap here.
Point cap is going to be coming in here soon, hopefully for Mi7. They're just a little bit away from it, but right now Reminiscence holding that cart to the 61-meter hole. They're actually going to turn the bot around here as they try to keep moving forward. Genji Main almost gets the charge up onto B-Ball Man after getting pooped. Sends the Shatter out, doesn't land onto anything, but still able to finish off B-Ball Man. But now Tanikby and Genji Main are out of the picture. Mi7, they might need to retreat from this fight, but Laura's looking for Neptune. trying to find an equilibrium in this fight, but now with Bunny out of the picture, you have to retreat if you're MI7.
Yeah, MI7 got a little bit too aggressive there. They weren't able to keep on pushing because you can stall it still from above that bridge. And hey, guess what? Reminiscence took advantage of it, and now they're trying to go farther and be able to try to get that point cap. But it looks like MI7 will be back to be able to contest it just in time.
So MI7 right now holding on that bridge. Reminiscence look like they want to try to back up a bit and wait for MI7 to come into them. Genjimane's looking for something. Obviously wants to hold this corner for a reason. As Laura's just trying to pepper down the damage here with this ramp, with this railgun shot. Hits the shot onto Neptune before the Kitsune Rush can come on top. Lands another one on the Music Addicts. Make it 3 in this fight for Laura. Turning it around when it matters the most. And that bot is once again MI7. Only 5 meters away from Reminiscence taking the lead.
Yeah, 5 minutes. Yeah, that was very close for MI7 to be able to contest it greatly. Laura was able to pop it, but they did have to use both their support ults as well to win that fight. I don't think they really needed to, but it could be rough. Whereas on the side of Reminiscence, they have the dupe, they have the Kitsune Rush, and they're very close to Coconut's beat.
Let's see what the move is here. Reminiscence. Obviously, they want to try to push forward into MI7, as MI7 currently holding in that under part of the Roman Coliseum. As the Kitsune Rush comes out here from Neptune to keep pushing forward. Duplicate comes out here from Music Addict, switches over to the Reinhardt, gets booped out of the Blizzard, who's able to keep themselves alive, and gets a 3-man shatter into the back line, lands on the Titanic beam, and trying to finish off the support. The Bunny hated it, but won't be able to, as the pause comes in here. But Reminiscence, they clearly won that fight, Karma.
Yeah, they won that fight. Again, it's another Echo duplicate that is able to turn a fight for Reminiscence. Just, it looked lost at the beginning. You see the Echo pop the dupe, and they're able to turn it around with a tank ultimate. It looks like Reminiscence, and now they're only, I believe it's like 5 meters away from getting that, to be able to get the lead and even the checkpoint there. And if they get that checkpoint, it could be close to over, because I believe there's only 2 minutes left in this map.
Yeah, it's definitely going to be difficult here if you are an MI7 fan. You do have some utility, but it just has not been looking as clean as we've seen MI7 this entire season. This is the MI7 that almost had an entire golden stage, that pulled out the first seed in a miracle after losing their match against the Cosmic Castaways in stage number 2. This is the team that won the preseason finals in the 7-map series, and this is the team that currently holds the lead in the rivalry between these two teams. Reminiscence are showing that they want to try and end it here and now. They want to get that lead into a tie, and they want to try to end it as soon as possible. And they've been showing a lot of strength here against MI7, especially in MI7's wheelhouse with this brawl composition. So it's going to be difficult to see what MI7 decide to pull out here to try and turn that around. Again, 2 minutes. MI7 have potential, but they have to try and recuperate as fast as possible here. As the duplicate ends here for Music Addicts, as does the pause, as the bot goes back to control of Reminiscence.
Yeah, and this is sort of rough for MI7. They have advantage, and your last one who died was Genjimane, your tank, your anchor of the team, who does have the shatter, but they're going to be late to the fight.
And MI7 starting to push forward once again. The bot approaching that mark, but will get held up at the bridge, courtesy of Tanikby. Very fun bridge that you can hold on there, but Bebop Man already eliminates Bunny. Not a good start here for MI7 at all, and the damage is just going to stack up. Hayden out of the fight, Tanik out of the fight. Genjimane will fall to the wounds as well. Reminiscence, that lead is theirs with 2.5 minutes left.
Yeah, honestly, it looked like MI7 took that fight a little bit too fast. They weren't able to fully regroup. Genjimane fell. They weren't able to fully contest. And then at the end of the day, they ended up dying. Tanikby died first. But now Reminiscence has a checkpoint as well as the advantage.
MI7 have to try and bring themselves back into this, and they have to try and get that bot away from over to their checkpoint. But B-Ball Man in your backline has the Rampage ready whenever necessary as the Kitsune Rush comes out here from Bunny. B-Ball Man looking for the Rampage, but Swifters finds 2 with the Pulse Bomb. Lauren Hayden out of the fight, and that's enough to give Reminiscence another fight win.
Yeah, another fight win, as well as Bunny using the Kitsune Rush early to engage that fight. Reminiscence says, nah, we're just going to use one sticky grenade to try to kill you all, and they did it. Swifters be able to get 3, but now Reminiscence has 2 ultimates with the Duplication Matrix and the Rampage. Neptune is close with about 17%, and on the side of MI7, only thing that they have is Genjimane Shatter still.
It's going to be difficult here for MI7 as they start to push forward. B-Ball Man still in their backline, pestering them on that jungle team, but Genjimane pushing forward, trying to get the kill onto Coconut, but Unfortunately, that frog is a little too fast for the hammer, and Neptune is dead again. Shadow comes out here from Genji Man, but it lands on the 3, but there's no follow-up as he ends up dying, and the rest of his team dies as well. These guys and Switches are out of the fight, though, however. It's now both supports first and the Junker Queen versus the remainder of Mi7, so they still have an opportunity in this fight, as the Blizzard is going to be invested here from Tanikby to try and finish it out. Will find the kill on the Neptune, and now all of a sudden this Coconut trying to go for a Miracle Boot, but won't be able to. Mi7 finally get that control back after 2 minutes.
After 2 minutes and a lot of ults used, Laura is the only one that's closest with about 40 seconds left. But if you look over to Reminiscence, they have 4 ultimates with Swifters at 15% or 25% off. Excuse me.
Yeah, it's going to be very difficult here for Mi7 to try and hold and try to keep this bot pushing. Genji made a switch over to the Junker Queen to try and equal the stakes here. Laura going to pop the overclock first and already finds the head of Neptune. That could not have been a better pick if you tried. Laura trying to find more, but the feet from Coconut is there to keep the rest of the team alive. Music Addict spinning their mouths in circles, trying to hit people with that axe as they duplicated the Junker Queen. Finds the kill on the Genji with the help of Coconut and Reminiscence, cleaning up the remaining picks. Hayden is going to be able to touch that bot, and so is Bunny is also there with the Kitsune Rush, but right now, it's looking dire here for Mi7.
Yeah, Mi7 finally just has their 2 supports left. Coconut is able to get one. Bunny finally falls. Tanikby is back on the Tracer. It gets music, so it could be a turning point in the fight. They're still alive, being able to contest. Tanikby is dead, but they did get hacked up by Swifters. But it looks like it's finally over as long as Genji Maidens doesn't stay alive here.
Yeah, Genji Man gets hacked out of that axe, most likely. Swifters finishes off the kill. Reminiscence are bringing us to match point in the series, entering map number 5. Mi7 need an answer quickly, or else their season is over with another runner-up finish.
Yeah, their season will be over. Music Addict, I'm pretty sure this is just going to be that opening fight, getting the early fight on the Hayden and getting that too. Music Addict has been going off for the side of Reminiscence, being able to get those early fights, going in aggressively when they need it. Nice little deflect there, and just cleaning up kills left, right, and center.
Yeah, Music Addict's definitely popping off when it matters here for the side of Reminiscence and being able to take it that well. But now, Mi7 have found themselves in a corner now, but it's worth noting, the last 2 times these 2 teams met in a finals matchup, the preseason finals this season and the season 9 finals, it was Reminiscence that won the first map, and then Mi7 won the following 3 maps. This time, it's Mi7 winning the first map and Reminiscence winning the following 3 maps. In the Season 9 finals, it was Reminiscence that came out to win that championship. Mi7 won the Season 10 preseason, obviously, by winning a final map choice. So Mi7, this could be a total reversal of the script that we saw for the past 2 finals matches, which, if that's the case, we're still in for a 7-map series, but Mi7 have to get themselves together. They get their map choice of their final map choice of the series, no matter what, even if they win this map. This is the last map choice that Mi7 will get in this series, and it is a control map here, Karma. Everything is on the line right now.
Yeah, everything's on the line, too, and especially with how we've seen it. Their one Brawl map that you really want to run Brawl, I feel like is sort of out with Antarctica. I mean, it's I believe, I can't remember the map pool off the top of my head right now, but it's going to be rough for Mi7, especially with how they're looking. I believe still all the momentum is on the side of Reminiscence. I feel like they took a little bit of it back on Coliseo, but at the end of the day, it's Reminiscence time to shine.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, the map choices between that Mi7 have to choose from are Ilios and Nepal. So 2 maps that could very well have different styles, but it'll be interesting to see what they decide to go for here, because this is the last effort here, or last ditch effort here for Mi7. They have to win this control map, and then they have to win the next 2 subsequent maps, which, if they win this control map, reminder, Karma, the other hybrid map is going to be next, and that's King's Row. So Mi7, they could very well bring us to a tie situation if they win this hybrid map, but it all comes down to how well they can do on King's Row.
Yeah, if they are able to win this one, which I feel like out of the 2, Ilios and Nepal, I feel like if you're Mi7, I feel like you got to go Nepal. You showed good on the Brawl. I feel like you're really good with that Mabe, Lucio, and the Bastion with Lore being able to, if you get Village, I think it could be a wrap for Control. I feel like Mi7 could take it. But again, Reminiscence looks great on the Brawl, and especially with them going to King's Row for sure, no matter what. It's going to be, we're in for a very long night tonight.
We hopefully are in for a long night. The map choice has been chosen by Mi7. It is Nepal that we're going to for our 5th map in this series, our control map. Reminiscence looking at a third title, Mi7 trying to get that somewhat reverse sweep and do a mirror of what the past few matches have looked like between Mi7 and Reminiscence, or at least the Season 9 finals where Reminiscence won the first map, but Mi7 in the situation where they won the first map here, so we'll see if Mi7 have enough to bring it back into their favor after 3 devastating losses on Dumbani, Shambali, and Coliseo all in a row.
Yeah, and also too with all 3 of these as well, they had Reminiscence had a great hold against Mi7, and now you're going to a control map that you can't really get a great hold on. You have to it's King of the Hill. You have to control the point, and if you're able to do it for long enough, obviously you win. Which, like we saw in Antarctic Peninsula, it did go 99 at the first map. Reminiscence just sort of faltered a little bit. Mi7 was able to take advantage of it. Who knows if they're able to do it again?
Yeah, it's going to be interesting to see if they'll be able to do it again. Definitely a lot is hinging right now on this map choice. We'll see what happens when we get into it soon. The players taking a little bit of a break. I would love to say it, but I've been told by my producer that he will smite me if I say the exact wording. So we'll see. We'll see how long it takes to get into the map and what the 2 teams are going to be running there. But definitely, it's all hinging on this last map here for Mi7 again. They lose this map, and they go home with a second runner-up finish in 2 seasons, which, I mean, hey, is a good resume to build, but you definitely want to be that championship team after being so close so many times.
Yeah, it's sort of that point where it's like you've been here twice, you want to win at least one. And if Mi7 isn't able to do that again, it's going to be rough for them. But yeah, we see, I believe we're going to Shrine first, Genji main on the Reinhardt. Whereas Reminiscence is sticking with the Junker Queen comp now instead.
Junker Queen definitely is a strong hero now. I mean, definitely when you're playing a Junker Queen, you want everyone to be grouped up, because if you can hit as many of those carnages as possible, you're putting the enemy team in a world of hurt. So we'll see if this is going to be the move here from the side of Reminiscence as the doors are about to open. Lore has that Symmetra. We'll see if they decide to stick on it as the 2 teams come out here on Nepal. And right now, Lore looks like they're going to be sticking with the Symmetra. We're seeing some Symmetra gameplay on Shrine here, Karma.
Yeah, we're seeing some Symmetra, and I feel like this is also one of the best maps for Symmetra, being able to stick in on all the pillars, especially with Music Ada sticking onto the Echo, being able to stay alive, as well as Lore getting the first kill onto Coconut.
Beautiful first pick here from Lore, finding that first kill onto the speed boost here for Reminiscence, already putting Rem in a bad situation because they can't move as fast as they want to. The only person that can move as fast is probably that Junker Queen, but she has a 14-second cooldown restricting her from doing so. Mi7 currently on the point, trying to cap it for their own. Lore's trying to snipe Music Addis out of the sky, but Mi7 will still take that first point cap regardless.
Yeah, it's going to be rough now for Reminiscence trying to stay alive, but they're already back up. Hayden is here, but Bunny is very close to the Amplification Matrix, something that could be just icing on the cake for Mi7.
Yeah, Bunny, very close build-up of that Amplification Matrix. Just so much damage coming in thanks to that Junker Queen of B-Ball Man. And Coconut is dead again to a Fire Strike, and Music Addis gets sniped out of the sky, this time by Lore. Mi7 cleaning it up with that 1 ult in tow, and they're going to continue counting up the percentage.
Yeah, they're going to continue it, but on the side of Reminiscence, they do have 2 ults very close. Music's Dupe as well as B1 Man's Rampage, but on the side of Mi7, closest thing they have is Horror's Wall, which is sitting at about 90%.
We'll see what happens here as the 2 teams continue to meet in the center. B-Ball Man coming in on that Junker Queen. We'll see what the move is going to be here. They're setting up on the right side with Music Addis just pumping down on that side. Almost get picked out as here comes that Rampage. It lands onto all 5 members of Mi7. They have to try to keep themselves the same, but Music Addis now has the Reinhardt in tow, and the Immortality Field is out for Bunny, and Lore gets charged into his Reinhardt counterpart. Music Addis lays a shatter as well. Reminiscence is going to be able to put the point, and they're going to be keeping it here with all these picks they're finding.
Yeah, Reminiscence, they did use the Kitsune Rush of Neptune used the Kitsune Rush on the side of Reminiscence, which I feel like could have been a little bit overkill, but at the end of the day, you're able to finally get it, and also Mi7 were only able to get 60%, whereas the last few times when Reminiscence kept the first point, they were able to get up to 80% on both times.
Teleporter goes straight to point here for Lore, trying to find that early teleport. The Pulse Bomb will get rid of the Immortality Field from Bunny here. So Mi7 still in fighting position here as Reminiscence is trying to stabilize. But he comes out here from Hayden to try and keep Mi7 in the fight. The Shatter lands directly onto the Junker Queen of B-Ball Man, but he ends up getting Suzu back into it and finds the kill on Lore with the help of Carnage. Music Addis picks out Bunny as well, but now B-Ball Man out of the picture. It's going to be difficult here for Reminiscence to try and take this back. Genji Main is 16 health. Somebody heal this Reinhardt. Haydenator there on the scene to keep the Rhino alive, but Swifters is able to finish him off. Reminiscence, throughout all of that, they still are in control at this point, and they still are keeping it from their own.
Yeah, this is something that Reminiscence has been showing great so far, even on both controls, is they look out, they're not out entirely, they're still able to stay alive and just play twinkle toes with the point to try to keep it so that way that MI7 isn't able to cap.
So now Reminiscence looking at almost last fight territory here when MI7 switching over to the Junker Queen of their own here. So we'll have to see what the move is going to be here. Jimin going through the center. Laura now on the Tracer as well, trying to pupper down any sort of opposition he can. Already the Suzu forced out for Bunny that early, but Tannic finds a crucial headshot into the head of Swifters. Now trying to freeze the remainder members as Music Addict now duplicates the Junker Queen. We've seen this story before. I didn't like it the first time. I'm not going to like it now. 3 people wounded thanks to that rampage from the duplicate. Music Addicts will get frozen up by Tannic Blizzard, and the point will actually come in favor here, but MI7 are in a world of hurt now. The 2 players are down. Make that 3 with Tannic falling.
Yeah, 3 players, almost 4, I believe now. Only person that's really still alive is Aiden, but now they fall, and it's 95%. Are they? I don't think MI7 is going to be able to touch for the point.
Yeah, no, Genji main can't touch, has nothing to move themselves fast, and the Kitsune Rush plus the Rampage keep Reminiscence in control. And now Reminiscence, it's championship point. MI7 need to win the next 2 points, and one of them is Sanctum here, Karma. So it's going to be difficult, and that's where they're going first. This is not looking good. MI7 need to pull off a Brawl Comp on one of the hardest maps in Nepal to pull a Brawl Comp off.
Yeah, it really is. With Brawl Comp, you want to be able to... For the Sanctum, you have to out-rotate the other team. But with Reminiscence having this Junker Queen, being able to get basically a double speed boost for the entirety of the team, it's very difficult to do. But we do see Lore switching over to the Cassidy now, instead of his 2 favorite heroes, the Bastion or the Sojourn.
So we'll see. The Cassidy from Lore is something we've seen before in Tranquility. We'll see if it works in favor here. Reminiscence coming out on that Junker Queen comp. We saw them before. MI7 coming out with a stock standard Brawl comp. A stock standard you can get in Lore is showing that he has not lost his rust with this Cassidy. Already finds the head of Coconut and eliminates that speed boost already here for the side of MI7. And then Music Addict almost falls into the pit and almost dies, but still MI7 have full control at this point right now.
Yeah, they do, as Hayden finds Evil Man with a headshot. That is nice. Tannic finding Music, just be able to get all these last second picks. It's gonna get point first.
Yep, definitely. Beautiful cleanup there from MI7. The first point will go to them, but now Reminiscence need to make some swaps. Neptune is stuck on the wrong side of the wall, but we'll have to see what Reminiscence decide to do here. Now this Music guy is switching over to the Hanzo.
Oh, if Neptune died there, that would have been massive for MI7. They fought very close. But yeah, MI7, they're close to the Application Matrix as well as Lore, about 40% off of their finding.
So we'll see. MI7 currently holding on the right side. Swifters is there to try and pepper out Lore and stop him from getting a lot of value, but right now Reminiscence pushing through that left side, looking for the opportunity, but Coconut dies first again! Your speed boost is already out of the picture for the second time. Vivo Man able to enter back, finds the kill on the Bunny, but ends up getting charged and hammer swung by Genji Main. Swifters trying to pepper in damage, has forced to use the recall, ends up getting sticky grenaded, and ends up dying to Lore. Now MI7, seems like their groove has finally been found. How long can they keep it?
Yeah, even though Reminiscence is losing these fights, they did get some great picks, especially with Genji Main falling. They could be able to turn this, especially if Music is able to find a kill onto Hayden, but it looks like they might not be able to. But the Cryo pops out for the side of Tannic B as well as starting to freeze up Neptune. But MI7 is there in a tight room with the Junker Queen. It's going to go the wrong way.
You don't want to be in that situation, but the Dragon Strike comes out here from Music Addicts, gets a kill on the Tannic B, but the kills are all in favor of MI7 right now, minus that kill onto Bunny. Right now, Hayden has to stay alive and will be able to cleanly, with the rest of MI7, able to support the kills. And Reminiscence, they used a lot of ults in that fight and got nothing out of it.
And they lost a lot of ultimates there. But if you're on the side of Reminiscence, at least these fights are going fast. You have maybe 2 more fights before it's game set match for MI7 and heading to a point 3.
Reminiscence need to try and find something this point if they want to. It's last fight territory here for MI7 to take Nepal Sanctum for their own and make the brawl work here when it matters. Bunny has the force of the Immortality Field earliest. Here comes that Rampage, lands on the 2. Here comes the Deadeye coming out from Lore, trying to get anything, and we'll find 2! Bevo Man and Neptune down to the ground, their heads rolling on the floor as the rest of MI7 cleaning up the pick. The Shadow doesn't land from Genji Man, but that's all, you don't even need that. Tannic B will take a nice fall, but MI7 are bringing us to Village.
Yeah, MI7 taking one of the hardest Nepal maps to play Brawl on and making it their own, 100-0 against Reminiscence. One thing that I do gotta say though is Coconut being too aggressive on the Lucio. I think they can taste the victory themselves and they want this over.
We'll see if Reminiscence are able to fix that up here as we head into Nepal Village for the final point here on Nepal. The winner of this is going to be determining on what the next few hours are going to look like here in the Tranquility Season 10 Discord Tier Finals. Right now, Reminiscence, they're not running what you would traditionally see. We do see the Orisa coming out here from B-Ball Man at the start.
Yeah, I wouldn't be, if they do stick with this, I'm surprised that they are, instead of going to the Ramatra, which looked good. Yeah, they're coming out on the Orisa, which could be strong, especially against Genji Man trying to disrupt of where they want to go, as they're starting to meet on the right-hand side of the point.
Yep, MI7 going to be going right into the point. They want to bunker down on this point as much as possible. That's why you have more on with those turrets. Evo Man is going to try to push into them. We've seen the Orisa work against Brawl comps before, most notably in Overwatch League with Busted Uprising versus Atlanta Reign. But regardless, Reminiscence right now having trouble trying to get onto the point here as Loris is trying to beam him down. Will get a Javelin straight to the face. Evo Man will start the contest here, but the damage is still getting pumpered into the remainder of Reminiscence. MI7 will get the first cap here. Tannic out of the fight, but Swifters is also out of the fight here for the side of Reminiscence.
Yeah, that's probably the best thing you could do if you were MI7. You lose one, but you gain one yourself. Explorer just trying to keep this tier 3 beam up and try to just melt everybody as soon as they walk through the hallway.
B-Ball Man just trying to put in a lot of damage, and Bunny ends up getting caught out in a space that they did not want to be in. B-Ball Man finds the kill onto the Baptiste, meaning Hayden is the only support here remaining for the team, but the wall comes out from Lore, keeping the rest of MI7 in a safe haven. B-Ball Man starting to drop very low, but Swifters has turrets on the point, just melting down anybody who steps into them. But still, Lore is alive, 89 health to the name, will end up getting picked off, but that's 33% here for the side of Reminiscence as they will, or the side of MI7 as Reminiscence put the flip.
Yeah, Reminiscence finally is able to flip it with 35%, but also they do have 4 ultimates online. The only one that's not close is Swifters, but MI7, they're making a swap. Lore is going back to the Cassidy, something that proved very strong for them on Sanctum.
Was the strong point here for MI7. We'll see if that Cassidy is going to work again here. MI7 taking the high ground approach. Just trying to get in there as fast as possible. It's all going to come down to the support alt play from both of these teams. A window and a beat versus a Kitsune Rush and a Coalescence. So right now, MI7 trying to push themselves forward. They know the turrets are in each corner. Genji ends up getting walled off. The Blizzard comes out here from Music Addicts as it does for Canning Beat, but Genji is already out of the fight. All the support alts are dropping one by one. Neptune is the only one to not pull the trigger yet, but Reminiscence are still in the advantage. This Coalescence from Coconut burns down the members of MI7 and puts Reminiscence in the lead in capture percentage.
Yeah, that was great, especially now that you're at 50% of your Reminiscence. Yes, you had to use basically every single one of your ultimates, but hey, Neptune did, which is the one good thing that they can take away from it. Kitsune Rush is very strong still. As Lore is playing Mystery Heroes, apparently they're switching off of the Cassidy now onto a Reaper, and the only thing that MI7 has is Genji main Shatter.
That was what they started the last fight with, along with those support ults. So we'll see if the Shatter's going to make the difference. The wall for Music Guys doesn't find anything. Here comes the Shatter. It lands onto 2. Both supports along with the Symmetra as well. Tanny be able to eliminate the Symmetra of Swifters here. Now the Symmetra out of the fight means you don't have the turrets that you can reapply here. Lore trying to pump these shotguns into the enemy team, just burning down B-Ball Man as much as possible. Genji Main brought extremely low, but the healing is there, courtesy of his great support, keeping him alive. Music Addict dies to Genji Main now, and now all of a sudden that Orisa B-Ball Man will fall into the hands of Lore, and now the flip goes back in favor of MI7, but they cannot let this point lose for 1 second.
No, they cannot. 93% for Reminiscence coming back. They only really have the Coalescence and the Orisa ultimate. They're close to Music's, but on MI7, they're up to both their DPS ults as well as Bunny's Amplification Matrix, something that can be the greatest turning point, especially if they're able to use their ultimates correctly.
Coming in, they're going to teleport straight over to the left side. The wall comes out here from Tannic. The Blizzard gets canceled. The Javelin landed right in front of the May, and Tannic wasn't able to unleash the Blizzard. That could be crucial here. MI7 now down one of their DPS. The window comes out here for Bunny to try and stabilize, but here comes that Coalescence coming out from Coconut, trying to keep the members of Reminiscence alive in addition to pump damage into the members of MI7. Here comes the Blizzard coming out from Music Addict. The Blossom comes out from Lure and doesn't find anything. Music Addict finishes off the kill. Tannic trying to keep the point alive, but ends up getting killed. Here comes the Terror Surge from B-Ball Man. Finds the kill on a Bunny. Reminiscence are cleaning up the point one by one, as now the point flips over. 95% remaining. Reminiscence trying to hold it through. Lure is the close to the point, and he will be unable to touch. And Reminiscence make history as the first 3-time champions in Tranquility history.
Yeah, first time, 3-time champion for Reminiscence. Amazing play from B-Ball Man, taking advantage of it, taking advantage of the Orisa, trying to run over MI7 completely. We talked about it. We saw those chinks in the armor starting on Numbani. It looked like they were starting to get knocked out. And guess what? They're finally knocked out. MI7, yes, they might have had that #1 seed, just barely. But hey, Reminiscence, they came to play, and guess what? They're your Season 10 champions.
Reminiscence get 3 championships to their name, the first team in Tranquility to do that, and Nostalgia come home with a trophy at the end of the day. What a performance from Nostalgia, popping off when it mattered the most and getting themselves a 3rd trophy to their collection in the Discord tier. And that puts Reminiscence probably in conversation for one of the best teams we've ever seen in Tranquility, as it's been the past 3 seasons that they participated in that they've won the championship. Karma, I think it's safe to say we have a Giga Chad team on our hands right now.
Yeah, not to mention, too, we started talking about this at the beginning of the series. This isn't the same team. They have a whole new roster. The only piece that stayed is Poggers, their head coach. It's been insane. Congrats to him winning 4 in a row now. Train wins I believe, his 2nd, and now the rest of Reminiscence finally get their 1st championship trophy, whereas MI7, again, they came up just that little bit short. Laura's Tom Brady Deflategate run has come to an end. Did win MVP. They did win probably one of the best hit scans, but hey, that championship still eludes him to this day.
Yeah, definitely. It's unfortunate for MI7, but they did put up one heck of a fight in this series. You definitely could tell they were willing to go through it throughout the end of the match, but what a series we treated ourselves to here. But at the end of the day, with Reminiscence winning their 3rd title, Karma, we have to choose a player of the match.
Yeah, we do, unfortunately. It's insane because all the people on Reminiscence popped off completely. I don't want to be that guy that says, I don't want to pick somebody, you pick it. So I'm going to go with the easiest one. I got to go with B-Ball Man. Showed off on map point, was able to keep calm and collected, even though it seemed like the rest of the team was a little bit anxious to get in there. Was able to play amazingly and pop off completely. Who do you have for your MVP?
I definitely could say B-Ball Man is a really good one, because obviously B-Ball Man was the one that turned that around. If that Javelin does not connect with Tanikby in the most crucial moment, that Blizzard comes out and Reminiscence most likely loses that fight, and we see a map number 6. So that was the turning point here. That was when Reminiscence had it in their control, and it was thanks to B-Ball Man in that aspect. But I'm going to have to give it to Music Addicts. Music Addicts was an absolute freak of nature in this match. They put up such an amazing performance throughout the entire thing, and this is a player that played for MI7, that played for MI7 last season and put up one heck of a show as well. So definitely was a heck of a performance. So I have to give my player of the match there to Music Addicts. But definitely everyone on Reminiscence did a really good job in this matchup and definitely had a really fun, definitely was a really exciting match to watch, Karma.
Yeah, and if it wasn't for Music, especially popping off on those multiple times, getting those copies, getting that tank ultimate basically immediately and turning that fight after they lost 1 or 2, who knows? We might be going to a map 7 even with MI7 leading it at all. But hey, guess what? That's in the past. It's 2020 vision. Reminiscence won 4-1. It's a great matchup, even though it did only go to 5 maps.
Yeah, definitely was an amazing matchup. And at the end of the day, Reminiscence take home the trophy. But that is it for us here today. Season 10 of Tranquility is officially over, minus All-Stars next week and our final Iris podcast broadcast on Monday. But that is it for us here today. A special shout out to everybody who was helping to work on this production. Again, of my wonderful caster, Karma. We had Finneif on production, or Finn as they're now known on production. Unfeatured was the observer director with a handful of observers helping him. Knockonwood, MrMtnMike, Kryy, and Hippy being able to help out on that. And of course, your desk earlier today, Dabmaster, Bernie, and Stiko helping break down all the action at halftime. But that is going to do it for us here today. For everybody I mentioned and the entirety of the Tranquility Gaming community, my name has been Bowsy. Until we meet again, we hope you have an amazing night, and we hope to see you for All-Stars next week and in August for Season 11 of Tranquility Gaming.